Welcome, everyone, to this week's Leadership Lunch Chat. I am Amy Vetter with my friend Jen Wilson, as usual. So, we're happy to be with you today. And we were talking about burnout and how we recover from that when we're in a sustained busy time, which so many of us are, no matter if you're working within an organization, you're a consultant, you're a speaker, whatever it is, life's just gotten busy. And, over and over, I hear people talk about how we can't really predict the seasonality anymore. It just stays busy right now. We haven't really gotten to our feet on the ground of figuring out what is the year look like, so we know what that is. So the responsibility for us is to really figure out how we recover ourselves and not look to the outside. That's really with intention of what we need to do to replenish, refuel, and make sure our energy is just the way that we want. So, Jen, you want to start off from there?
Sure. It's funny that Amy and I are both talking about this, and we just came back from a week of vacation. Um, you know, I mean, I think we've had a week or 10 days at work too, but we were, before we started with you all, we were like, man, it's hard to restore, and that a lot of the people we're talking to are feeling the same way. So I just wanted to start by saying one of my number one restoration activities, which might not sound like rest, is to exercise and various forms of exercise. I'm a runner, and that helps me de-stress. But it also gives me energy. A lot of people, so you could say it's not really a restorative thing because you're burning off anxiousness or aggression or something. But I have more energy if I have run than if I have not. And so it's just it's a some sort of hormonal release of endorphins and other things that cause me to feel energized and up and more interested and more engaged than if I didn't. And so, but I'm running, but hiking, walking, biking, yoga, bar, whatever, kickboxing, whatever your thing is, to try to get regular exercise in. And especially, like, one of the counterintuitive things that I will do is if I can't get enough sleep, I know I'm not going to get enough sleep. My flight was delayed. I got into my hotel room at 1:30 or 2 in the morning. I know it's going to be a short night. I have to facilitate in the morning at 8:30 or something. I'm faced with a definite deficit of sleepy, burnout feelings. Instead of going into my thing burnt, trying to maximize whatever hours of sleep I get, I go ahead and wake up an hour before I have to get ready and I go exercise. And I can make it through the rest of that day as if I didn't have that horrible night. And I'm not saying do that all the time. That's not prescribed, but it's just an example of how exercise can restore you. Just briefly, at least.
Yeah. And I think it's important to really, I was just talking about this, that even when I'm tired or exhausted or moving, I have to find time to work out in the morning. And that's just me personally. But everybody's got to find what that thing is to refuel. And I'm coughing, so I'm going to have to let you go.
Oh no. Okay. So exercise is one thing. Another is, for me, the idea of trying to put myself in calming environments. And so, like, right now, I'm in a really sustained period of back to back video calls and commitments and production of deliverables in my non video call time, which is mostly like evenings and weekends. Unfortunately, right now, I'm just in a really squeezy time. And so when I am doing my video calls and I'm in Nebraska instead of out of town, I'm trying to be on my back deck, as long as the leaf blower isn't there or a thunderstorm raging, I'm trying to be next to my fountain on the back deck where I have birds, singing and, flowers and things around me that make me feel calm and energized and happy to be doing the work. I'm working in a really nice restorative environment. I try to do that. And, it can make all the difference in the world if you can't not work to try to figure out, well, where will I work from that could make me feel energized or calm or restored.
Well, and I think it's important is planning it out. So for me, like even traveling, I have to think ahead. So if you've got a busy day coming
Yes,
or week coming, it's actually thinking ahead of how you're going to maintain your routine, even if it looks different. So, I mean, my suitcase in the beginning of the week is very heavy because I bring all of my drinks and snacks and things that I need to do to make sure I refuel. So I'm not left to just grab anything that's available to me. And so it's something people make fun of me about, but I know I need it if I'm going to show up the way that I need to show up each day. And so it takes a little bit of forethought and planning to be able to do that. But, and it is blocking time to make sure that you do that and prepare. But I know, like, just, and working out isn't always for everybody. But I know that if I don't figure out the times I'm going to get it in, or if I don't make sure that my diet is routine, I am not going to feel good. I'm not going to show up in the way that I want to show up in the day. And I do think we all have responsibility of making sure what our energy is like for others. The unselfish part of this is we do it for ourselves, but we also do it for the people around us so that they're also getting what they expect from us as well and what they need. And we do have a responsibility to figure out how we show up for others by maintaining that as well.
I agree. And also, like, if we're completely burnt out and a wreck and tired and beat up and all this stuff, other people don't want to like take that on. They don't want to grow up and be like that. So it's a poor modeling. And then beyond that, though, I want to model like, hey, you will have periods where you're jammed. And no matter what job you have, for the people around me, no matter what your role is in life, there's going to be periods where it's just too much. And I want to model, and here's what I'm doing to try to cope healthily, positively, with energy, like not just I want to look like have energy and feel good, not complain. I want to show them all the stuff I do to make that work so they can do it too.
Yeah.
Because people need ideas for how to cope with anxiety, how to cope with stress, how to cope with fatigue, how to cope with long work hours, how to fit it in. And so us figuring it out ourselves and then not bragging about it, but sharing strategies or even demonstrating them can help your people with this same issue because I think everybody's got it.
Yeah. Well, and I do think that communication and transparency is so important. So many times I'm in organizations, especially in accounting firms, where the staff think that the partners work 7 days a week, but they've actually hid the fact that they take Fridays off to golf and, have time away, but they don't show it on their calendar. They don't talk about it. And so the staff just assumes that they're working 7 days a week,
Right.
which actually harms the work culture because it's important for people to understand that you are doing that and there is that flexibility in the job as well. And that is why you work so hard to be able to do the things that you enjoy. So, to, it, wherever you can to talk about it, and even to talk about when you are feeling run down and saying, I need a break, just like you. When I go on vacation, I need to make sure that no one's interrupting me and I'm turning off the notifications and so forth. And I know that's hard for so many people to do that. And I always suggest to do it for a couple days before you do it for a week, just to start getting the understanding, the feeling, how to delegate, how to let everybody know, how to know where people are going to be responded to and so forth, just so that you've created all that metrics. You create your community of support in order to do these things so that you can take the needed time off so that you can reset. It's really, really important that you're present during this time off, because if you're not, then you come back frustrated. You don't really feel refueled. Your mind is still pushing against, up against the wall. So it's important that you are really fully taking the time.
And I think that I'm on now without Amy. I'm not sure. This is her, we're on her account, but I think I'm still live. So I'm going to wait and see if she pops back in here. But I agree with her 100% that we just have to be really mindful of taking time off when we say we're taking time off, and to set it up to do that with success.
I'm on a call right
Yes. So anyway, Amy, you're unmuted. But hi, welcome back. And I
now.
couldn't tell.
This is
I was
one of
like, I
those
think I'm
meetings.
still on this call, so I'm just talking to you, but I'm not sure. So
I know.
anyway, I just was
I'm
saying that
trying to
I think
make this really hard on you, Jen, today.
it's fun though. This is like a driver's ed film or something. You're throwing up obstacles, and I'm trying to see if I can roll with them. So anyway, I agree about this time off thing. I just took time off, and I love, by the way, I love the 4th of July week. I love Thanksgiving week. I love the week between the Christmas and New Year's holidays, because
The
so
world
many
shuts
people,
down.
yeah. And on my team, because of the way the holiday fell, they had 3 days off, and that was my week of vacation. So obviously I took the 3 days of holiday, but I had 2 days of vacation time. And they weren't pounding my email box full, so I didn't come back to 1,000 messages or whatever it was. And it's much more restful when you know that the rest of the world is slightly taking a break as well. And so one thing, just to say this for all firms out there, you should be thinking about whether or not you could give the days around the 4th of July week and that Thanksgiving week especially off. I know a lot of people push back on me on that end of year because of inventories and starting inventories on audit and tax planning strategies and all that stuff. But I got the idea to close our business from the 22nd of December roughly till the 8th of January, which we've been doing for most of the 23 years we've been open. I got the idea from BDO. They did it, so it can be done. I think that's a cool idea for giving everyone a collective rest. And it's a selfish thing because I get a better rest. My rest is better because of that.
I agree. Yeah, I did the same thing. So, and I think it is, to that point, really important to think about when you take vacation time, that it isn't in the middle of busy times, so that you aren't worried about checking emails and that something's going to fall through the cracks. So when you can, have the opportunity to plan around those holidays and time periods that other people do, I think it's really helpful in getting those breaks. And I would like to talk about shutdowns, because it is an art and a science, I think both. And you really have to plan, just like we were talking about planning for yourself and your energy. But if you're going to do a shutdown, it needs to be a shutdown. No emails, no Slack, no team messages, no text messages, that you're truly giving everyone a break. And in order to do that, you've really got to communicate to everyone that depends on you outside of the company as well, that this is going to be happening a week in advance, 2 weeks in advance, however you want to do it, to let them know the company is shutting down, because you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for your people as well, so that they can take that break and set the right expectations as far as response times and so forth. And if you're really in an organization that for some reason does have emergencies and fires and so forth that you need to man, then think about how you're going to do that from centrally from the business, to be able to respond to that and maybe rotate it or make sure if someone is going to be there during the shutdown that you're giving them a shutdown time as well. So it's really important to think about all the different things that could happen over that time period that you shut down, whether it's a few days, whether it's a week, and be vigilant with your team about no messages. And that includes yourself, which can be
Yes.
hard, right? As you're getting ideas or thoughts, you want to respond to something and you've got to stop yourself from responding to it as well.
Yes. So, and I just want to say that like we have a whole bunch of best practices. We have a blog somewhere on our website about that because we've been shutting down all this time. And, we put in a PS message in all of our emails starting in the middle of November that says, remember, we shut down. We call it putting the business to sleep, but we put the business to sleep starting December 22nd. If you need something from us before then, because we truly close our machines and log out and we're done, and one of us checks the corporate voicemail and email on the days that that are normal non-holidays. And we just check it once a day. One person on the team kind of gets that. And it's usually me. I volunteer to do it. And there's hardly anything there because we've trained our clients and we've trained all our stakeholders that we shut down this business, and it's cool. It's everybody honors it, and people know it. Our clients know it year after year. They're like, we expect it. We know the shutdown's coming. There's not a lot of pushback on it. It works. So communications methodologies are critical to being able to make it go to sleep. Otherwise, weird stuff comes up, and first year clients, when they're coming up to that period, they're like, do you really mean it? Or could you attend a comp committee meeting on the 27th of December? And I have to say, no, we really mean it. We're totally shut. We go to sleep. And so we're not available for anything during that period. And sometimes people don't like that. And
Hmm.
we have to be like, we get it, but it's part of our culture. This is how we work. And we're sorry if that's not cool for you. And maybe you'll have to work with someone else that doesn't shut their business down during that time if meeting in those days is so critical. Most people, immediately are like, I don't care. I'm off most of that time anyway. So they're not too worried about it. That we take the first week of January off. So sometimes that shows up like 4, 5, 6, and people are like, what? You're not back to work till the 8th? We're like, no, we're not. So, uh, we're militant about it. I wanted to say something else, or I'm going to seed the idea and see if you think it's a good one to share here, Amy. Sometimes we can't shut it all down or we can't take real vacation, but we're at a place like the BDO conference or the Engage conference where you and I have both been together, and we could find restorative things to do at those conferences, and we don't have to.
Hmm.
It doesn't have to just be all work, and we could find ways to restore and rest, and also have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I usually try to find those moments together
Yes,
when
we
we're
do.
at those things. So, yeah, I mean, looking for the opportunities within your day to take that break, whether it's at a conference, whether it's at home, whether it's in the workplace, whatever it is, shutting that door, turning things off, going on a walk, whatever you need to do, to find those moments to reset your energy throughout the day. I find a lot of people complain they don't have the time, but it really is intention, right? And I think on this and going back to what you were saying about the shutdown, the hardest thing for anyone to do is say no. And so if you block your time even for 30 minutes to reset during the day and you give that time away, that is your responsibility. It wasn't that other person's issue. And we have to get better. And even if we have to practice with people that we trust on how to communicate when we need to say no and feel comfortable saying it and practicing it. No doesn't necessarily have to be a rude no. It's just, I can't do it at that time. What other time? So even if Jen and I scheduled time to go to the pool during the video conference or wherever we're at, that we're actually saying no to other things to do that, because that time for us is really important time to decompress when we know we're going to have a really busy conference, speaking and meeting with people the whole time. So, same thing in our workday, even if it's 30 minutes to go eat lunch or go take a walk or to listen to music or even to take a nap, if you need to take a nap, that is really important that you just learn how to say it, how to feel okay saying it and not feel bad about saying it.
And I wonder if some of that feel bad about saying it is generational or something. Because I know that I feel like next gen people get this better than we do, maybe, and maybe they're not fully sucked into the vortex yet. But I feel like that there's a guilt from old ways of managing a business that we all worked in. Those of us that are a little older, we worked in that old way where like they looked at us sideways if we had a phone call from home,
Hmm.
and so then we're like at a conference and we're thinking, I want to go to the pool with Amy and I'm going to miss a couple sessions, and there's maybe a guilt that could come up. And I just know, here's how I rationalize that guilt. And first of all, I think it's invalid guilt. That's the first thing. But second,
Hmm.
my way of looking at it is to say, you know, everyone is better off when I am okay and better off. Like all my
Hmm.
clients get better service, they get fresher ideas, they get innovation, they get a higher level of problem solving. We have more fun, we laugh more when I'm not a wreck. If I'm a wreck, then the level of service I'm providing to others is poor. The example I'm setting for others is poor. So that's how I look at that. If it's a couple of restorative hours of exercise, I don't feel guilty because I'm doing that and it overlaps with a little bit of the work day. So what? Because I'm going to be better off because of it and more productive or valuable later because I did it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, great. So we have gotten past our time, and I apologize for the coughing fit in the beginning of this. So thanks for moving this forward. So if there's any topics any of you want to make sure that we talk about in future leadership lunch chats, please let us know. If not, we hope you all have a restful weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, all.